Welcome to another edition of the GM Files. Jim Duquesne alongside Bobby Evans, and we are pleased to be welcomed by a longtime major leaguer, 18 years in the big leagues, 2,769 hits, Hall of Fame ballot, Johnny Damon. Johnny, always good to see you. Our pleasure. Thanks for joining us. Let's get into your career because I remember you as a kid out of Dr. Phillips High School, first rounder. Could you have imagined out of that, you've been a two-time World Series champ and come this close to 3,000 hits? What a career.
Thank you so much. First off, thank you for having me. And yeah, I've come a long ways from Orlando, Florida, Weingard Elementary, Walker Junior High, Dr. Phillips High School, right across the street from Universal Studios where, talent just kept coming out of Dr. Phillips. And to be able to play 18 years was an absolute blessing. I had to stay healthy and to go off and win 2 World Series with the most storied franchises and breaking the curse after 86 years. Absolutely amazing. And then winning the Yankees' last World Series and the last one for Mr. Steinbrenner. Been truly blessed for sure.
Well, Johnny, you were a part of history, of course, in 2004, but that kind of got started in 2003. You guys were facing the Yankees in the ALCS, which was historic in and of itself because, of course, that had never happened before. And Pedro's on the mound, and it looks like you guys have a chance to win this thing, and it folds up. Tell us about that, the challenge that brought.
Yeah, that brought a lot of challenges and brought up a lot of second guessing. Grady Little, what a amazing manager. Possibly the best I've had. And because of that moment, Pedro's a Hall of Fame pitcher. Pedro wants the ball. You got to listen to your players, and that's exactly what he did. And I guess that's why these GMs nowadays let managers know, don't let the players decide anymore. Like if get him out of the game, just like we saw with Tampa Bay this past year.
Right.
Absolutely cruising. And, it's, you do have to go by the numbers. You have to see what's the strengths, but you also have to look into the player's heart and see what he's got. Pedro didn't want to give the ball up. Should he have? We look back in history now and say, of course, we have guys like Mike Timlin down in the bullpen who's ready to go and sinker ball pitcher and just knows how to, get ground balls for our great defense behind him.
Well, anything from that game, because there's some other really good games we're going to ask you about, obviously, that you were on the other side when you won. But from that game that stand out to you, I was trying to remember, there was a Posada flare in front of you. There was a Matsui, like – anything from that, you're like, man, if because we know the game is a matter of inches, right? So just if there's a diving catch made here or a pitch made there, maybe that inning is different.
Yeah, there weren't too many hard hit balls, but going back, I got a concussion in our last game against Oakland, and that really derailed our team. I feel like I was the hottest hitter on our team, and going down on a simple play, routine fly ball, get a concussion, miss a few games, and I wasn't doing anything before the game. I was just kind of sitting around ready to go, and then I take the field. After the first or second inning, I was just exhausted, and obviously there's concussion protocols now. We had a guy on first and third. Veritek struck out. I hit a hot shot to Jeter and easy double play. And I don't hit into too many double plays. And I know we'll get into that later on. But yeah, that could have changed the outcome. And then who knows what would have happened against the Marlins. They acquired a bunch of great players like Pudge Rodriguez, and they were a different team than who we faced earlier that year, like when I had 3 hits in an inning, and we absolutely destroyed the Marlins.
Yeah, they had a way of disrupting some things for us in San Francisco in '97. We finally won a wild card or won a division, and then lost to them in the wild card or first round game. Yeah, they would have been tough for you, but still, you guys made it up in 2004. I mean, you came back and did some amazing things. I mean, I remember being in the right field bleachers when Ortiz hit that home run. I think it was what sent the series to Game 5.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it was 3-1, and Ortiz's home run, of course.
Yeah. 11.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Robert stole the base in the ninth. Billy Miller with a base hit, which was a former Giant.
Yeah.
So tell us about that experience. I mean, you had 2 big home runs as well. So
yeah,
Well,
he had a home run in Game 7. I was at that game. Wait, did he go after the foul pole?
Yeah. That series was absolutely incredible, draining, and I mean, Big Papi. I mean, he came to life. I mean, greatest postseason performer, I feel, in the history of the game. And Game 4 ending it with a home run, but obviously Bill Miller, very underrated player to this day. But he's one of those guys. Take him on your team. And you could plug in a bunch of those guys from our team, and they're going to make your team better. Even you go get the top superstar, these guys can get the job done. I mean, Bill Miller, Orlando Cabrera. I mean, that was possibly some of the best shortstop play I've seen, offensively and defensively, just all together. Knew how to bunt, knew how to hit and run, knew how to take pitches when, I'm stealing a base. I'm going, wow, this guy was absolutely incredible. And I mean, I feel like if we would have re-signed him after that World Series, we would have had a better chance to win in 2005 for sure.
Right. All right. So take us through that. So obviously you get the home run in the ALCS. You guys end up winning the World Series. It was almost handily in 04. I remember,
Right.
sweep the crowd. So that's cool. So you 05, you guys don't get there, and then at the end of 05, you have to make a tough decision, right?
Yeah.
And not many guys go from the Red Sox to the Yankees. So I'm curious how that came about, and then what was the reaction from Red Sox fans? And now you're going to the arch rival.
Yeah, well, more guys go from the Red Sox to the Yankees. Not many go from the Yankees to the Red Sox like Mendoza did. See, I was the third guy on our 2004 team that actually went. Mark Bellhorn got released in 2005 with the Red Sox. He went to the Yankees, Mike Myers. And when I went and signed with the Yankees, there were only 6 Red Sox left from the 2004 team. You had Euclid, you had Veritek, you had Wakefield, Poppy, Manny, and Schilling. That's it.
Yeah.
So it was a very tough decision because I knew I was the fan favorite. And at the end of the day, and back in those days, your team could only negotiate with you for 6 weeks after the season. There was not one discussion with the Red Sox. And when it came time, I was like, I need to go and sign because if the Red Sox are the only team out there, I am going to lose out on a bunch of money. So I called Detroit. They just lost 120 games. I knew they had some good players. Lakeland's right down the street from me. I'd like to come play for you. And they're like, we would love to, but we have a young kid named Curtis Granderson that we are going to give a chance to this year. I thought the Dodgers were going to work out, but they just signed for a call. So now it's down to Boston and New York. Never did I think I would go to New York, especially never did I think Boston would let me become a free agent. So I started talking to Cashman, and I told him what I wanted, make it worth my while. Boston hasn't offered me anything. I think they were going to offer me 4-year $40. They said they were going to offer that to me a year ago. I bought a house. Everything. They haven't been very truthful to me. I know they're busy. I know it's a business, and I know they really want to get me for 1 year for maybe $5-10 million. Jacoby Ellsbury's coming. So I started talking to the Yankees, got the 4-year 52, and it was a very tough decision, but I've been in the game, played with Kansas City, played with Oakland, played with Boston. I was going into my 12th year in the big leagues or so. I get it. And what we veteran players really want is just straight up honesty. When I was with Detroit, I was told, thank you for your service, but you're not coming back. At least I knew I could start shopping around. And that's the greatest part that I think GM and players can get along. Hey, let's be honest. We know it's a business. Let's figure it out.
Now, you're represented by Scott Boras during that time?
Yes, I was. Yes.
Okay. Was that your whole career or just during that free agency period?
My entire career.
That's great.
I met him when I was 16. He was a advisor to me. He definitely wanted me to take a different path. He definitely wanted me to go to college after having a tough high school senior year. But I knew I was ready. I mean, I've been ready since I was 13. I mean, I was 6'1", 185 pounds at 13. My arm was a lot better than football happened, and it's like,
yeah, there you go.
I knew I was ready at a very young age, and it was time to go. I mean, I would have loved to have gone to the University of Florida, my dream ever since I moved to Florida when I was 6. But I also knew my parents needed some help. And I also knew I was ready, and it worked out. I mean, by the time I would have been a junior in college, I was up in the big leagues, fighting my way through, getting ready to hit that stardom.
What was it like, Johnny, going from the Boston clubhouse to the Yankee clubhouse, right? So you had the long hair with the Boston, right? The postseason rumors, right? What you're rocking now. The rumors were during the postseason you're taking a shot before the game. I don't know if those are true or not. We don't.
Of course, it's true. It's out there.
Of course, it's out there. So, but then you go to the Yankees clubhouse, in the establishment of all those guys there. What was that? Was it a hard transition? Easy transition?
It was actually a very easy transition because whenever the Yankees want you, I mean, they want you, and they want the best players. And I never hated the Yankees. I always respected them. I mean, they hit a ground ball. They all hustled down the line, whether it was Bernie Williams, Derek Jeter, Scott Brocious, everybody that played the game the right way. And I love that type of baseball. And I couldn't really say the same in, Boston. And things were changing in Boston. There was they're keeping their guys, and I hope they would have kept me, but I get it. So it was actually easy. I respected those guys. It definitely helped having the World Baseball Classic the first year of spring training. So I was able to hang out with A-Rod and Jeter. I've known A-Rod since I was 14 years old. I mean, when he was the number 9 hitter on our Euclid baseball team, I was the 3-hole guy. So I was a big-time hitter back then. So, but it was great. We hung out in Arizona, took Jeter out to a Seven Dust concert. He couldn't believe how crazy it was. It was Seven Dust and actually Nonpoint. And I was like, bro, these are our peeps, It's like very diverse bands. And I was like, he took off early. And then he got lost, so I actually beat him back to the hotel.
That's a good story. I like that.
Well, you were a part of, the Yankees for several years. Really, the last few years, of course, at Yankee Stadium, and then you came from the old ballpark at Fenway. Now you're in the old ballpark at Yankee Stadium. Culture-wise, clubhouse culture, very differently. You got Derek Jeter. You've got that group. You've got David Ortiz and that group there in Boston. Just night and day, or just small differences, just in terms of how they approached it.
Yeah, small differences. Ways guys approach stuff. Like Boston, everybody knew your story or created a story. New York, it was buttoned down. If you had a bad game and you were out the night before, they'll let you hear it. Mr. Steinbrenner will let you hear it. So you don't do that stuff. I mean, you understand who who your boss is, and you respect the rules and of the organization. And we are not bigger than the game. And I know players nowadays, they kind of feel like it. And I was going to do whatever it took to win, to respect the guys paying me, hiring me. And I think that's what made me different from a lot of other players. It's still about winning. It's still about bringing your A game every day for every teammate, every fan, every buddy working in the front office. It's like, okay, this is your duty to try to do your best. It may not always happen, and you may get upset about it. You may throw your bat. You may some people may whine about it, but I never did. It was like I know that guy trying to get me out is trying to do his best, and even at his best, I can get him with a little broken bat single or, yeah. So I understood the game and respect the game, still to this day.
I know that was the latter part of George's life, but was he around? He lived in Tampa, but did you have much interaction with George as a Yankee?
Yeah, when I signed with George, I went up to the stadium in Tampa, had a conversation. He said that he always wanted me. He thought he had me in 2002 when I left Oakland, and he was very upset about it. So I got him happy. I started talking about boats because I know that's how he made his living, and I love boats. And we had a very good conversation, and I'm just so happy that I hit the game-winning home run at the old stadium. Not the last one, unfortunately. And then getting the first hit at Yankee Stadium and then delivering him his last championship. I mean, I feel like I've been in very good spots at the right time, but I also know that I create my destiny. And, you got to take the good with the bad. And fortunately, we have some good right there.
Yeah, for sure.
Great.
I want to ask you about that because I always felt, obviously when you were with the Yankees, I was with the Orioles at that point. But when you were the early part of the Yankees, I was with the Mets, and even with your Red Sox term, I always felt like you were a big time, like postseason type player. And even like towards the end of your career with the Yankees, that last World Series, you had a really good, like you had 360 in the World Series. So what is it about, that moment or those moments that you feel like you were able to produce?
Well, we are definitely fresher. We have a few more days off during the postseason, and I have a knack for hitting the ones and twos. I think my kryptonite might have been the fours and fives who add and subtract on pitches, and you think every pitch is the same. But those aces, I'm just ready for it, and good things happen. And I wish there was a secret, but I also know I'm going to fail in this game. So why think about failure? Why not just think about succeeding, and we'll let everything else happen.
Yeah. Well, Johnny, the World Series in 2009 was special for George, of course, being his last, but also the first at Yankee Stadium, the new Yankee Stadium. And it's just of course, the ballpark had to be as majestic to you as it was to all of us and the fans, and having come from Yankee Stadium and the long tradition of Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig and all the Yankees greats of the past, then to come into a new stadium and open it up with a World Series championship. What did that mean to you now, your second championship in 5 years?
Well, it made that move worthwhile because leaving Boston, I mean, it was great in 2006 when we won our division. Boston finished in fourth place. I know they had some injuries, but that's part of it. And I was like, sweet. Well, Boston went out, signed, spent about $250 million, had some young players like Ellsbury and Pedroia coming up. And then they win the World Series, and here I am going, oh my God, what the heck did I do? And then 2009, I mean, the Yankees, they knew they were opening up a new stadium. They wanted to get some talent, adding Tex, AJ Burnett, which everyone thinks, can win and can dominate any ball game. CC Sabathia, you know what you're going to get. And we have a hot Andy Pettit, add a guy like Nick Swisher, probably one guy. No, there's a couple of guys I can say my arm's better than, and I never get credit for this BB gun right here, but it was a lot better than people thought, especially from left field. Better than Swish.
We're gonna let Swish know. We'll let Swish know. I know you talked to him too.
Yeah. Just an absolute magical year, adding all those players into a new stadium and then delivering. And yes, my last one, the Yankees' last one. So it's really tough to replace guys like Matsui and yours truly after we dominated that World Series. I mean, both of us just absolutely carried us, and you didn't have to change the lineup. So I talked to Joe Girardi when Derek was going to the World Baseball Classic, and I said, what do you think? And I also talked to Kevin Long. What do you think about Jeter and I flipping spots? Jeter gets on base more. He swings the bat more. So if he swings at the first pitch, I'm the best 2-strike hitter in the game. Whatever. I know how to handle that situation. But if he gets on base more, I have that hole right there for me.
Right.
And
that's right.
Derek Jeter hits into 30 plus double plays a year. I might hit into 3, and I know how to handle a bat. The problem with me hitting number 2 is Teixeira doesn't like people stealing when he hits. Another story we can come back to later on. So I only had 18, 19 stolen bases that year, but it was because Tex wanted that hole. And if you think about that lineup, you go Jeter, Damon, Tex, A-Rod. You go Cano, Posada, Matsui, Swisher, Milky. Okay, so the lefties we have in there, myself, Matsui, and Cano, we hit righties and lefties, so you never have to change that lineup. Bullpens have a tough time going righty, lefty, especially in today's game. And then you have 4 switch hitters. So you have Tex, Posada, Swisher, Milky. You never have to change your lineup. So after 2009, when they get to the playoffs, all these teams are doing is I'm going right-handed pitcher today, left-handed pitcher the next day. And their bullpen that's why they haven't been able to win. Like one day, these guys would hit 1 and 2, say it's great Gardner and Granderson. The next day, if a lefty's pitching 7 and 9, or it's tough on a player. People think they can plug in players and everything's going to be the same, but you get a feel for the guys hitting. I know I could steal a base at any second when I know this guy's going to be aggressive and swing the bat, and we create stuff, especially my days with the Royals, like Carlos Fables and Ray Sanchez. It's like we just kept running. We didn't stop. It's like we knew we were going to put the ball in play and create havoc, and we did, even though we didn't have pitching back then.
Right. It's
a tough ballpark to have pitching.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a tough place to pitch, period.
Yeah.
In your career, you only hit it was 93 total double plays over 18 years. So to your point, it's like an average of 4 or 5 a year. It's and that year that you mentioned, you stole, I think 18, was it 2009? You stole 12 bags there.
Okay.
So Teixeira let you steal 12 times? Was it he only let you steal 12?
Yeah. So that year the next couple of years, I did steal a few more, but Tex didn't want me to steal. But we know that night in Philadelphia, our backs were against the wall. They tied the game up in the 8th inning. Lidge was hot. These sliders were nasty to Matsui, to Jeter. I get up, I battle. I should remember how many pitches I saw. It was
A lot.
So I get on base, and you got to make something happen. You got 2 strikes. Lidge is hot. And so still second base with Teixeira hitting. I don't do that. So, obviously everyone thought I was crazy by taking third base as well, but you got to do what you got to do. and it's easier to score from third base than second, especially with the strong arms that the outfielders of the Phillies had. I could score on a infield single, a pass ball, a bunch of ways. So, so I finally decided to steal when Tex was hitting.
It worked out.
Yeah, it worked out.
Johnny, did you always look at Jeter and say what's he going to do after his career, and think that he might be a big time baseball executive? And was that surprising to you that he would go that route?
It is very surprising to me. I mean, I would have thought, man, you made a ton of money, sit back, relax, and enjoy life. And it did well, but last year is a tough judgment on what needs to happen. And we know how tough this game is. And hopefully we can get everything rolling again, especially having the fans in the stands. I mean, you can open it up for voting, but you can't open it up for fans. It's like the Dodgers should have been able to have fans at their stadium instead of it opening up, directly after the season. It's absolutely lunacy going on right now.
For sure. Well, what's gonna happen for you? Like, what are we going to see you as a more than occasional star on Bravo, Below Deck, Part 2? What's in store here for Johnny going forward?
Yeah, well, that second time I was on there, I'm a little embarrassed. I mean, I was on the boat for 16 hours, and what do you do when you're stuck on a boat? You drink all the alcohol on it. So I was very tired. But yeah, I wish something would have started a few years ago, because we have just had an absolutely beautiful journey. I mean, I retire, we have a few more kids, so now I'm up to 8, and that journey was just absolutely like scripted. Like, it would have been great. We are in talks. Hopefully something works out, but I always want it to be a positive thing. I don't want any of this negativity that, everybody surrounds themselves with or wants to hear about. It's all about being positive and winning. And, I'm launching my drink again. I mean, we were launched years ago. I finally took over. It's called A Game. Everybody talks about bringing their A game. You got to bring it to life. Whether you're a GM, whether you're an athlete, whether you're a parent, whether you're a teacher, if you don't bring your A game, then you shouldn't have a excuse for anything. And we are just getting rolling, got our investors ready to go. And it's on Instagram, it's going to be at Drink A Game. And I'm at Johnny Damon. I'm going to be filling in a lot of stuff. Like, we are really in the process. Bottles were tough to come by. With the people hoarding during this time. Plastic bottles are like non-existent right now. And then the hurricane that hit Lake Charles, where all the plastic bottles go. So a couple weeks, be ready right before the baseball season. And if there's anything you guys can do to help me out, or think about some players who are big influencers who love that social media platform, please let me know, because I am old school. I really rely on my heart, rely on, the good in people. And this social media stuff is something that I would never have thought would have been so popular.
It's got people locked in. They're locked in.
We can definitely help out on that, on some of the stuff that we're doing. So when it's ready, let us know for sure.
Yeah.
And it's like some of our accounts, some of the Jomboy accounts, the Jomboy accounts too. So we can get that rolling for sure. I want to ask you one or two quick ones. Before, best, any memorable brawls that you were a part of? Like
Well,
the A-Rod Veritek one stands out. That one was nuts.
yeah. Well, that one was nuts, and I just had a that was Veritech A-Rod. I'm thinking about the one that happened in the postseason where I think I was just concussed, and I was like, please, I can't be hit. But the crazy one, I was with Kansas City, and I believe it was Detroit we were going after. Jim Pitsley hits, or Phil Nevin, he's with the Tigers, slides into Mike Sweeney hard the year before. And I believe I have Phil's team right. And then we remembered it for the next year. Well, we hit Phil Nevin. He's on a different team. His first at bat. I forget what team he just. I think it's the Angels actually. So Jim Pitsley, he's out back smoking heaters and doesn't see we retaliated. It's all over.
Oh,
Pitsley gets called in. He hits Nevin. It's like all hell breaks loose. And then Felix Martinez, I played minor league ball, some in the big leagues with him. He sucker punches someone, and then it goes into our dugout, and they are just wearing out Felix, and you can't do nothing. I mean, there were some big dudes with that team, but he was in the wrong. We were trying to protect him. The cops were finally able to get Felix up to our clubhouse, but yeah, the fact that Jim Pitsley was smoking a heater out back, kind of instilled that nasty brawl. And, I was good. I knew how to defend myself. I mean, I got hit by a slider earlier in my career after a grand slam and charged the mound. So they knew not to hit me with anything, not even a slider.
That's funny.
That's awesome.
I remember Pitsley as an amateur, as a high school pitcher.
Yeah,
I think it was Pennsylvania. Yeah, Pennsylvania. How about best? You had so many teammates. I don't know how you pick them, but outside of Nick Swisher, best teammates.
Kevin Millar. When I was in Boston, it was every day. My first year, it's like trying to get guys excited to play. We're playing big league baseball, and I know there's stress involved with this game, but let's go every day. And when guys like Millar came, I was like, good. It doesn't have to be every day. I can actually kick back and actually get ready to play. But yeah, Nick Swisher has brought a lot of energy. We brought the fun back to New York, and that was a little bit tougher to do than, say, Boston. And then you add certain guys, you lose great guys like Giambi, you add guys like Swisher and Burnett, and every day's a party. Let's be happy we're in the big leagues making a ton of money and enjoying life. And we made sure we did that in 2009. It was short-lived. I feel like if the Yankees would have brought me back, and something happened with the negotiations somehow. Nick Johnson re-signed there, and I was told I had 5 minutes to agree to almost a pay cut of half from the year before. I was like, man, I absolutely was the guy on our team. And so I was like, okay, can we do something? Oh, deal's off the table. I'm going, well, I didn't even have a second to really think about it. So I feel like my playing days with Swisher was short-lived. I wish it could have been longer. Even that first year with Tex, we tied the Yankees all-time record for back-to-back home runs. Ruth and Garrett in just 1 year. I'm sure we could have did it a few more times. And so a lot of good would have happened. I'm glad I went to Detroit, but obviously, Detroit, they're great fans. But New York was very special, especially at that point in my career.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, thanks, Johnny. This is great. Yeah. This is great. I think so. Yeah, you played with some great guys.
I'm good. Don't worry about me. I've got a little longer, so we're all good.
We won't ask you best general manager, best manager.
There you go.
Oh, Jim, you would be up there if you would have been able.
I would have traded for you.
Work out a trade.
Yeah,
we had a chance to trade for you, but with the O's, man, we messed up on that one for sure.
Yeah, I really thought after New York, going to Baltimore would have been great because I absolutely just crushed there.
You raked at Camden. Oh my God!
I knew every
Ridiculous.
series, couple hits, couple homers, maybe. Yeah, that I absolutely love the place. Best GM. Wow. I mean, they're all so dang good. I mean, Allard Baird drafted me. He had faith in me even after my struggling year. And unfortunately, he had to trade me. You know, it was like,
that's right.
Yeah.
I mean, it came.
That's hard.
Circle. Yeah.
That's hard.
That is hard. But you know, I respected everybody and what they did. I mean, Billy Bean had his way. Theo had his way. You know, there's been a lot of rumors if Theo was still in charge when I left for the Yankees and, you know, all that stuff. Cashman has always been consistent. Back to Theo, like they just created a whole new wave of, you know what, we're going to use you at your best time. And, you know, if we feel the need to move you, we will. We'll try to put you in a good spot, but I get it. I mean, it's business, it's baseball, it's Moneyball. I mean, do you pay Johnny Damon $10 million at the age of 36, or you can bring in three guys who can play three different positions, spell your guys who have been here forever, say the Posadas and the Jeters, and give them a break and rest. I get it. And you're doing it for half the cost, maybe more. Right. And they're younger. And like when you get older, you don't necessarily get more endurance and all that good stuff.
Yeah. Well, you're talking to two guys that loved good makeup guys. I mean, Bobby had 3 World Series rings. I mean, he would have fit on any one of those teams, Bobby, with that group. 12,
yeah,
10, 12, 14?
No doubt. I mean, he 3 teams in his last 3 years, which was, you know, after all the length of time he was at the other 3 places, it had to be hard. I know that, especially after the success you'd had and bouncing around. Oakland was a very short period, but obviously a very good experience there too. So
yeah, it was great. I mean, getting traded. There was a lot happening in my life at that time, and that was the best thing, going to Oakland and learning how to play winning baseball. You know, towards the tail end of my career, I mean, after New York, I mean, I had a great year. I didn't sign until 2 days after spring training or something. I'm going, what the heck is going on? And then I go to Tampa, which was godsend. I mean, I'm close to home. My dad gets to watch me play more, and had a fantastic year there. We go to the playoffs, and then, you know, they sign someone else. Don Zimmer gives me a call. He starts crying. He says, "You did everything for this team. We can depend on you. You're the best clubhouse leader we've ever had, but I'm afraid your career is going to be over. I don't know why we made this move, but it's not up to me." And for a guy like Don Zimmer to tear up, I mean, I absolutely love the guy. I mean,
yeah. We had his son Tom Zimmer as a scout with the Giants for a long time, and you know, his, you know, didn't get a lot of chance to spend with his dad, but, you know, just a great family. And Don was a legend in Boston, of course, in New York, and the gerbil in Tampa. I mean,
he's great.
What a guy.
Yeah. And, you know, that could have been the end of my career, but, you know, the Braves called me in spring training 2012, and they're like, we can use you. You won't play unless Chipper is hurt. And then if that's the case, we'll move Prada from left to third. And I was like, so I'm hoping Chipper's hurt so I can play. I was like, I can't do that. Like, I can't say you're a franchise guy. I hope he cannot play so I can play. And then kind of just waited. And then Cleveland called and asked if I could meet them on May 1st in Chicago. I won't be there for too long. Grady Sizemore is almost healthy. My wife's like, why are you doing this? You've been playing golf. You've been enjoying life. Let's get on to the next chapter. And I was like, well, I really would, but I'm not playing for me. I'm playing for my fans who have supported me. I'm playing for the city of Orlando. I'm playing for South Orange Little League. And that's why I wanted to keep playing, just so they can take a look back and say, wow, this guy gave it his all. The numbers, the championships, that's why I wanted to keep playing. Maybe I shouldn't have, but retirement's a long time. So
we were wondering why you didn't go longer. You were so close to 3,000 hits, and
yeah.
Well, I wanted to, but it's the numbers. They start looking at a 38-year-old. Could I play the outfield still? Yes. Well, you need to replace me in the 7th or 8th inning, possibly. And so I believe if I was with Tampa, and that's why Don Zimmer was so emotional, because he knew 3,000 hits was close, 600 doubles was close. And still, my numbers are like, it surprises everyone if you put it up to any of the leadoff guys or even number 2 guys. And I mean, my production and my ability to score runs, and my durability, but they look at a 38-year-old age and not the body type. And that's the problem with the science. I mean, the science isn't right on everybody, even dealing with this COVID, which is absolutely a horrible thing that was created and that crushed the whole world. My body type is different. This was me at 13, just and natural and nothing. So the science isn't the same for everybody. And a 38-year-old Johnny Damon who can still run a 4.40 compared to, say, a 32-year-old Kevin Youkilis, it's different. I mean, I'm just throwing out names, but you guys get what I mean.
Yeah, definitely. You didn't play less than 140 games in your whole career, except for your final season, and that was a partial year. To your point, like one of the most durable guys in the history of the game that I can remember.
Well, only 2 other guys, Willie Mays and Brooks Robinson, and myself. 16 years, 140 plus games. Obviously, Cal Ripken would have been there, but there was a strike. But and then I'm one of 3. I think it's me, Mays, and Molitor with over 1,500 runs scored, 1,000 RBIs, 200 plus homers, 400 stolen bases, 2,700 hits. Like I shocked people with all my doubles, because I think I went 10 straight years with 30 plus doubles, and and I always knew how to run. I can score. Like sabermetrics doesn't, or the WAR doesn't tell you how. If Johnny Damon can score from first base on a double to the outfield compared to, just because I said his name, Youkilis. I love Youkilis, so I'm just throwing out But could Johnny Damon score from first? Can Jason Giambi? No. So, like, certain things I could do, and I believe I heard a stat towards the end of my career. Well, in 100 at-bats, Johnny Damon would hit 4.7 home runs. Giambi would hit 5.9, Carlos Pena 5.9. But okay, so you're going to get 2 more home runs, or 1.5. Does that say if you need a bunt, you need a hit and run, if you need certain stuff? So that's what I feel kind of got me out of the game. Like, people kind of forget about the value that a certain player.
Well-rounded.
Yeah. Correct.
All right, last one. You got a good 13U team for you and A-Rod? You were batting third. Was it 12U or 13U? A-Rod's batting 9. You're batting third. You got any good stories from that one?
Yeah, well, that team was absolutely amazing. Steve Bort from Bergen Beach, New York, put this team together. Guys from everywhere. Danny Cannell was on the team. Todd Helton was on the team. A-Rod, myself. Yeah, Todd Helton. Helton was 4, so he got me the good pitches.
There you go.
Yeah, he
you're
was
batting third.
pitching.
Helton's 4th. A-Rod's 9. Danny Cannell. I mean,
Yeah.
one of the great athletes. Where was he hitting?
Oh, shoot. Cannell was pitching, playing some first base. Yeah, I mean, it was such a fun time. We went to Euclid, Ohio. We stayed in the high school that the great running back Robert Smith went to. Like, all his stuff was on the walls. We were sleeping in the classrooms. They had the gym, and then I got to see my first big league baseball game live because Danny Cannell's dad was a doctor for the Marlins. Was it the Marlins at the time, or
I think it was the Marlins.
It was a different team. It was.
I mean, he was Dolphins too, though. But
yeah,
I thought it was the Marlins. But
oh yeah, Dolphins. Yeah, so they got us tickets. It was the Indians versus the Mariners, and like young Griffey playing, and Joey Bell. I mean, it was absolutely. It was great. Stayed out, had a good time, and a lot of great memories. And yeah, but A-Rod was definitely our number 9 guy.
That's fantastic. You never used that against him down the road, did you?
Yeah, I mean, ask him about the 14-year-old Johnny Damon.
14U for sure. Listen, we're going to help promote your drink when it's ready. So just let us know on that. You said at Drink A Game.
At Drink A Game, yes.
And Drink A Game.
We're also going to have direct sales. They're going to take us back in the Northeast, like I helped us years ago. But the reason why we started this drink was 2010, a lot of kids were dehydrated or even dying in the state of Florida because the other drinks just do not give that to them. So we wish we could say all natural, but FDA comes down hard on you, but it is. I mean, we get our sugars from honey. We get our hydration from sea salt. I mean, yeah, it's we are very excited.
Cool project.
And we have, like I said, Hilton on board, Westgate, timeshares. Yeah, we're getting ready to roll.
Awesome. Nice. All right. We'll definitely get that rolling too. Thank you. As always, good to catch up with you. I'm glad to hear everything's going well. I hope your golf game gets better. And when things clear up, maybe we can all get together and have a drink or get a bite to eat.